I think it's time to move on to our next speaker. She is devoted to activities close to our hearts, namely entrepreneurship, television, and food.
Let's all give it up for Laurie Granito.
No tricks. Oh, I am not supposed to be here. At least according to a conversation I overheard when I was 9 years old. I am supposed to be a statistic. You see, I was poor, black, a girl, and living in one of the worst housing developments, what we would call the projects. Some of you may have heard referred to as the ghettos in my town. Now, I had one other cross against me, and that was that I was a full-on nerd. I always had my head in a book, so I wasn't always the most popular kid around. And my mom worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs to put my siblings and I through private schools and to feed my book addiction. And she was always trying to get me into some other program to challenge me academically. And I remember her having a conversation with a neighbor, another mom, telling her about some program she was trying to get me into for gifted students. And this woman said to my mother, "You know, you think too much of that girl. You better be careful. You're spending all that time and all that money on books, and she might wind up disappointing you by becoming pregnant at 16 like half the other girls around here." Now, I'm not going to tell you what my mother told her. But I remember it as being the first time I was so viscerally angry that someone would say something to my mother about me that was really designed to limit who I could become. Now, maybe you have had someone tell you before that you weren't good enough, that you didn't belong, that you weren't worthy. And maybe you have had those people tell you those things and it reinforced some of the insecurities that you have about your own capabilities and what you can achieve. Well, I want you guys to remember 2 words when you meet people like that. Now, I could have let those very hurtful words really derail me and just take my joy away, but instead, I used it as my fuel and my motivation to really succeed even more, because I love a challenge. And I am very competitive by nature. You just ask anybody that's ever played a board game with me. The words, "booyah," yeah, they're banned in my house now. And I think I'm so competitive because I learned early on that playing small just didn't benefit me. Now, I know I told you guys I was a nerd. You're about to find out how much of a nerd I really was. In high school, one of my extracurricular activities was something called Quiz Bowl. Now, Quiz Bowl is like the geeky combination of debate team and Trivial Pursuit. So you're usually on a stage. You compete either in teams or individually. There's a moderator that asks questions and you ding a bell or raise your hand. I'm sure it's much more sophisticated now. But then if you know the answer, you get points. So there was a boy, I was in high school, there was always a boy, that I really liked, and he had started being really nice to me. And then he said, "Well, I really like you, but I could never go out with you because you're much better at Quiz Bowl than me, and I couldn't date anybody that made me look bad on stage." So, idiot teenager that I was, the next match that we had, I didn't raise my hand when could have. Kept my mouth shut. And y'all know this is a bad teenage romance, right? You know how this ends. I got played. I didn't win the match. I didn't get the boy. But I did manage to crush him in the tournament a few months after that. And the lesson there was to never shrink, to never shy away from doing or giving your best, just so you can let someone else shine, because you deserve better. Now, I have always been the type of person to go after what I wanted, but not always getting there. And one of the things that I can tell you is that I have had challenges over the last 10 to 15 years. One of the things that I've struggled with on and off is my weight. And so about 5 years ago, I auditioned for and was selected for a reality TV show called The Biggest Loser Asian. And I went away for 3 months, no contact with my family, my friends, my staff at work. One of my staff, I think, thought I had cancer and had gone off somewhere to die. And I came back after 3 months, continued training really hard, and I did really well. I came in 4th overall, and by the end of it, I had lost 40 kilos.
Wow.
Okay, go back one more. Yep, sorry. One more. So that was me. And one of the things that I learned is that I was able to really do something that I loved again, which was running. So I was running like 10 to 12 kilometers a day. I ran a 10-kilometer race up to the peak, a 15-kilometer race around Mount Butler. I even did a 25-kilometer course here in Hong Kong. So what the hell happened? Well, I had some injuries, and I let those injuries keep me from training the way I could have. So instead of focusing on what I could do, I focused on what I couldn't do, and I beat myself up. And that became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because the thing is that the biggest bully you'll ever face is yourself. And most of us would never dream of speaking to our friends the way we speak to ourselves. And the self-talk that you have is so incredibly important, because that determines whether or not you will succeed. So those voices that were telling me that I couldn't do it, I let them get the better of me. And the reality is that I could have been doing something, but I was scared. I was scared of what people would say, that I had gained some more weight, and so I didn't go back out there. And then earlier this year, I realized, well, my knees don't hurt, my feet don't hurt, and I really don't know why the hell I'm so worried about what people I hardly know think about me. So I decided to go back out. And of course, the first day, you know, there were whispers, but most people just kind of waved and said hi, because it's the same old regular morning crew. And the trail that I run is 8 kilometers back and forth. So it's go 4 kilometers, you turn around and come back. So I put my head down and I'm going in. I use the term running very loosely now. It's more like a little shuffle job, but you know, whatever. But when I got to the end and got ready to turn around, there's this old gentleman who is there every morning, really frail. He has 2 helpers that help him actually come out to walk, just so he can get his daily sunshine. And I had seen him every morning, and we said, "Good morning, Josiah," but I didn't even know if he spoke English. And so this morning, as I turned around, this big smile came on his face. And he said, "Where have you been? We missed you so much. I'm so glad to see you again." And I realized in that moment that I had shortchanged myself with all those bullshit stories I had running around in my head. I had forgotten that life is not about wallowing in the darkness and waiting for storms to pass over you. It's about looking out, seeing those storms, and going out and dancing in the rain anyway. And the thing is, I should have known better, because I have hit rock bottom in this town before. I lost all my restaurants, lost all my money, to the point where I couldn't even get 100 Hong Kong dollars out of the bank to buy diapers for my child because I had $97 in my account. I couldn't use the ATM machine. The challenges that you face are there to help you become a better version of yourself. When you fall, and you will fall, don't be afraid to pick yourself back up and start over. It's an opportunity for you to build something better. And when you have doubts and you have those mean voices in your head telling you what you can't do and what you can't achieve, that's the time where you need to stop and take stock of where you are in that moment and be grateful for what you have in that moment, even if it's just a little bit, or take stock and be grateful for what you have, and then go from there. Go for it. And when you succeed, because I know all of you are going to be fired up after this, and you will succeed, don't be an asshole. No matter how successful you become, no matter what fancy job title you have, how big your house is, how fat your bank account is, or how nice your car is, all our graves will be the same size, so stay humble. Part of coming into understanding all that you're capable of means learning to stop comparing. So for my part, I don't compare myself with the person that I was a couple of years ago. I try to improve on who I was yesterday. And I try not to compare myself with other people at all. Because we live in an age where, everybody is competing on social media and so concerned about who's got the best profile and how many likes something is getting. And somebody's life is always going to look better. You have to recognize that sometimes the grass is greener on the other side because it's fake. And so stop worrying about what the person next to you is doing or saying or posting. And work on conquering the biggest critic that you will ever face. The only person that can really play on all your insecurities and your fears and keep you from succeeding. And that person is you. And when you think about it, you don't really have much of a choice, because otherwise you will wake up one day and find that there is no more time to do all the things you wanted to do. So do them now. And you can be nervous, but don't be afraid. Because if you want to be able to achieve everything that you want, you have to stand up, face the fears, walk past them, and go for it anyway. And for goodness sake, don't wait for permission to go after what you want. Do not for 1 second think that you do not have the power to choose who and what you want in your life. Now, a week ago, I was very honored to receive an award from the American Chamber of Commerce Women of Influence Entrepreneur of the Year. There was a lady who received that same award a few years back who was getting another award this year. And she confessed that although she felt that she deserved the award this year, when she had received the Entrepreneur of the Year award, she didn't think she deserved it. She didn't think she was supposed to be there. And so as I got on the stage and I looked out at these hundreds of amazing, dynamic, and talented women, and a few men, I thought about that woman when I was 9 years old and how she thought I was supposed to be a statistic. I thought about where I had come from, every time I had doubted myself, and everything that I had overcome. And I stood there and I said to myself, I deserve this. I'm supposed to be here. So I want all of you to leave here and make a promise to yourself that whenever you hear those voices, whether they're someone else's, but especially if they are your own, that are telling you that you are not worthy, you don't deserve something, and that you don't belong, be brave and face it. Tell that voice, I do deserve it. I did not wake up today to be mediocre. And yes, I'm supposed to be here. Thank you.